So, hello, my name's Steve Nobel, and today I'm speaking with Katie Jordan on Ascension and spiritual clearing. Katie had an awareness of spirit from a young age, apparitions, dreams, crystals, a big part of her life. She worked in dentistry for many years, and in 2021, she really began to awaken to a true spiritual journey. She's a spiritual trance medium, Reiki Master, and a certified Spirit Release Practitioner, specializing in spiritual hygiene, removal of dark forces, satanic, demonic possession. Her website is confidencesoulkatie.co.uk. Hi, Katie.
Hello, hi. Thank you for connecting with me today.
Oh, pleasure. Katie, let me ask you, how do you experience ascension? What's your experience of it?
Wow, the Ascension is, for me, it just comes in lots of different codes and vibrations and frequencies that, that we feel. And I feel that there's been a real huge shift of lately. Noticing a lot of people that are noticing a real difference, and quite quickly as well in their awakening. I think we can all relate to that. A lot of people are coming through a lot quicker, and it can be a little bit more of a unsettling time for people, a little bit of a lost time for people, really, because when you're quite stuck in maybe a 3D matrix, and all of a sudden things start changing for you, that can seem a little bit scary, and a little bit sort of, you can be a little bit lost, and particularly if you haven't got that supportive network around you, or sort of people around you that you can relate to, and talk with and connect with. It can be a bit of a roller coaster of a ride. um,
Yeah,
and obviously we're on planet Earth, so there is a very big mixture of different 3D, 4D, 5D matrix, and the way that I always explain it to people is Earth is always trying to find some form of balance. It's always trying to find some form of equilibrium. The body does, Sir Isaac Newton's theory of what goes up must come down. And that is the way of it around us. There is always light, there is always dark, and so forth. There is always a way that it needs to find a balance with life. And that in itself can be very tricky. As we know, emotions, we're trying to learn lessons and things like that. But I think the most important thing in the Ascension is to understand that you are constantly reaching and looking for that balance within yourself. If we wanted a completely 5D, we'd have to go to another dimension, or just say you don't want to come back to Earth again next time. But right now, like I said, we're on a dimension where we're learning, and like I said, it's changing, constantly changing. And as we're trying to improve the vibration, because we've been quite low in that 3D matrix for quite some time, as we're trying to improve that, obviously that with itself comes with its little challenges and things. So that's what we're here for, Steve, aren't we? Trying to help
yeah.
people navigate through.
Well, yeah. Now, what does it mean then I mean, it's very important, I feel, and you feel, clearly, to keep energy fields clear. But can you just explain it to people who go, well, what's that about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of class myself as a spiritual hygienist. So it's helping to cleanse and keep the balance within. So what we're trying to do is to offer people things like spiritual hygiene tips, and cleansing and clearing around their energy, so that we can maintain a balance, so that life can be a little bit easier. So what happens, obviously, on a day-to-day basis, we do get a combination, like I said, of highs and lows, and low energy around us. And more often than not, people, if they are spiritually protected around themselves, they can maintain a strong balance within. But sometimes, there may be different things around us that trigger us. There may be things that cause us to maybe have a low point where that low vibrational energy can connect with us. And you know what it's like when you get in a bad mood, or it just can sometimes get worse and worse and worse. And things you can pick up on, like the law of attraction, you know, you keep attracting this energy to yourself, and that can make you into, you know, a place that has triggered all sorts of different things within you, within your etheric field, within your different layers of where you hold different energies, and this can in itself make you maybe go into a little place where you're attracting that type of energy that isn't necessarily representative of you, and sort of cause you to feel a little bit low and a little bit down, and like I said, it can then go into other areas. So by having an awareness of what is around you and knowing how to spiritually protect yourself, that will in itself help with keep a sort of a spiritual resistance. So the way that I always explain it is, with anything, you have a certain resistance. Your body's got an internal resistance to bacteria and things like that that you have around you, and sometimes, you know, you might find like a little virus or a little bacteria can affect your internal system, and it just puts it a little bit out of sync. And it's the same here spiritually. Sometimes we find that something may connect to us that can put our spiritual protection a little bit out of sync, and so by being able to have the right sort of tools and being able to have the empowerment within to acknowledge these times and places, so when the negative thoughts come in, changing them to positive, all these types of, you know, high vibrational tips and cleansing and everything around us, that can then put us into a stronger place to help ourselves really, and to get through those harder times really.
What kind of things can people pick up? What kind of things seek to attach to us or interfere with us?
Yeah, so there are entities that are around that are of lower frequency, they are of lower vibrational value, and these entities can be from other dimensions, they can be extraterrestrial, they can be an energy that is sent to you, say through somebody else, through witchcraft or voodoo, or, you know, that sort of intentional or even sometimes unintentional energy that's sent to people really. And for me, the way that I like to look at them is that we're not at war at them, but we're trying to find a balance with them. So there is a reason they kind of need us, some of these entities and energies, they need us, they need our resources on the on earth. And not all, like I say, not all of the entities and things like that are bad, but the ones, these specific ones, they attach to us when we're at a lower vibrational value, and they cause us to, you know, they exacerbate the problem, they cause us to feel worse. I mean, ultimately as well, some of the entities, we can also get lost souls that are of lower vibrational value, that have the need that they want to attach because they've got an agenda that they want to fill. You know, they're lost, they maybe not sure they've even passed, and, you know, they may have been an addict, they you know, and they're craving for that attachment on somebody. So there's quite a vast array of low vibrational, like I said, entities and spirits and things like that that can attach to us. And like I said, some of it is opportunistic, that maybe they're just looking, and some of it is the fact that they, like I said, can be intentionally sent to us. So it's kind of having awareness of all these different areas as well, to know, once again, how to navigate that.
So it seems to me there's a spectrum of difficulty, isn't it? From the kind of lost souls who may be, or even not that challenging, you know, some lost little old lady who's sitting in your house, to kind of the other end, which are almost like SAS assassin type beings. Can you say something about this kind of spectrum of interference?
Absolutely, yeah, it definitely is a wide spectrum. Not all of them are just seeking out to cause you problems. Like you said, it could be, like you said, that little old lady who doesn't realize that she's passed away and you're living in her house now, and she's she's there, you know, looking for what's going on, you know, looking for comfort, looking for energy to keep here, because they can't be in a physical vessel anymore, you know. And then you've, like I said, you've got that really far end side where you've got something quite demonic that is feeding off your energy and ultimately, yeah, trying to keep you in a really low vibration, so to fulfill their agenda or their contracts. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you deal with a whole range of things. You know, when you talk about satanic, demonic, and even possession, I guess possession is more rare, isn't it? That kind of thing.
Possession is really rare. I I've witnessed it 3 times. The first time, literally, I'd just trained in Reiki. It was one of my first clients, and I didn't expect anything like that to happen. I'd never been taught that this happened. This poor lady came to me with grief, and we, you know, we got to a point where we opened her up, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this soul come out who was cursing at me and snarling at me, and I was like, okay. So obviously the medical side of me was like, she's not having any form of fit or anything, and I'm just kind of talking to her and trying to sort of guide her through this. And this poor lady was like, what's going on with me? And we managed to help her, bless her. And I remember phoning up my Reiki mentor and being like, what was this? Has this ever happened to you before? Because an hour appointment turned into 3 hours. And she was like, well, no, it hasn't happened to me, but I have heard it happen, and it is quite rare. It doesn't happen that often. So I was like, okay. And she said, maybe you need to work on like boundaries and work on this and work on that. So I was like, right, okay. So I, you know, really got into focusing on spiritual hygiene and boundaries when I was doing my Reiki. And then it happened again. So I thought, this isn't a coincidence. So I was like, right, well, I obviously need to start learning more about this, because this has come to me. And then I started getting people, just even, I was in dentistry then, even in dentistry, coming to me, and like I'd be treating them, and then they'd start talk about, oh, I think I've got like something wrong with my tattoo, because ever since I've had this tattoo, I've been having this and this and this. And what he had done, this tattoo he had was a portal. He'd opened a portal up. And so he was like, his marriage split up after 20 years. He'd lost his job. His kids started having all these things happening with them. So I was like, right, these people are coming to me. I need to learn like how to help them, because right now I'm not quite sure. So the universe kind of directed me into that area. And then one more time, then I'd seen a possession where somebody literally was like, can I show you? I've had some Reiki attunement, and ever since I've had this attunement, I can't connect. Every time I connect, something quite horrible comes out. And I was like, okay. And she showed me, and once again, it was something that was coming through her, coming out of her. But like I said, generally, not to scare people, because it's not something that does happen all that often. And I believe for me, the reason it came to me was because I was very much in my youth, I'm a realist, I need to see it to believe it. Well, they showed me it. They showed me it.
Okay.
So, you know, and that in a way, it was a really good lesson, because it helps me then to understand when people are reaching out to me, because it's a vulnerable thing to do, Steve, isn't it? To turn around
Yeah.
and say, look, I think somebody like I'm experiencing this. Or even bless, in one of my spiritual circles, a young man came in, he said, look, I'm not into this at all, but he's like, I think my mum has been possessed because she's not been herself for the last year, and you know, she literally was on psychotics, and it did make her worse at the time, and it took a long time. And he said she's still not the same now, but sometimes they can even ask you to call them by a different name. One of the persons that had the possession, he was like, why are you calling me that name? He was a Cockney. He was like, why are you calling me that name? That's not my name. And I was like, okay, what do you want to be called by, you know? And he's like, shouldn't you be like saging me or something? And I was like, will that help? Like, literally. So he was telling me, you know, but there's a really, really good book written by Carl Warwick, and it's 30 Years Among the Dead, and literally it's brilliant, because he was a doctor, and he worked on like amputations, and he worked on sort of people that had passed, and he used to work on on the body and stuff like that. And one day he went home, and his wife out of nowhere just all of a sudden like tranced out, and she in a man's voice said, "Why were you cutting my leg off today?" And he was like, "I wasn't cutting your leg off." And he went, "Yeah, you have. You cut my leg off." And he was like, but I didn't." And then he remembered that part of the person he was working with that day, he did cut the leg off because he was looking at the cells and things like that. And he said, like, the stories in there are amazing, you know. And then
Wow.
even Edith Froy, like all her research, she still says, "I have this skepticism, but things keep happening that are like you can't explain them, you know. These type of things keep happening." So
Wow.
yeah, it's very
Well,
interesting.
let me ask you, because there are all this interference and dark forces, but there are also unseen friends and helpful forces, aren't there?
There really are, yeah, there definitely are. There's some beautiful star seeds, some galactical beings. Yeah, I mean, the angelic realm. Oh, wow, like amazing. And I work with a community of people. We help people where, you know, maybe difficult cases, or just sort of practicing together. And every single one of us obviously has different guides and a different team. So when we work together and link in, it's just amazing the amount of help that is out there. The only thing is we do have to remember, obviously, that a lot of the time we do have to ask for it, because there's free will out there, and people forget that. Like, people say to me, like, "Why do I keep getting attacks, blah blah blah?" And I was like, "Well, have you asked your spirit team?" And they're like, "Oh no." And it's like, well, ask them. They're the best team around you. Ask them why this is happening and how you can prevent it, you know, because I can't see everything you're doing, so they can help you. And even more so, you can see the new star seeds that are coming in within our children. You know, all the neurodiversity that's coming in to free us of this institutionalization, you know, and to free us of this 3D matrix. And you know, it's absolutely beautiful. And I have to say as well, even some of the lost souls are really helpful.
Mm.
They don't want to harm. They, you know, when I was young, I had a moment where I went through a bit of a phase, as everyone does. And I remember that I used to be there, and I'd be quite upset sometimes. And I just used to have somebody come around me saying, "It'll be okay. When you're older, it will be okay." And then obviously, when I awoken, really reawoken, I did so much inner child work that it was me helping that person, you know. So it was me helping me as a child. But the person that was connected to me was comforting me and helping me and telling me, "Look, you will be okay. Everything will be okay for you." And when I did start doing my journey, I remember one day, I think it was my first Reiki, and all of a sudden the voice said to me in my head, "I've got to leave you now. I'm going to go to the light." And I said to my mentor, "I've got somebody here that has been helping me, and they're going to the light." And she was like, "Right, okay, protection round, everything like this."
Mm.
And literally that lady that was helping me and used to help me when I was in like an emotional point and things like that, she at that point passed over to the light. And she was a really great help to me, and she was a lost soul. Her name was Nora. And do you know what, I grieved for her for about 2 or 3 weeks after, Steve. I really did. It was like my grandma leaving me and saying, "Look, now's the time." It's like that bit from Ghost where Patrick Swayze,
Oh yeah.
you're like, "Oh my gosh." And I love that film as well. So it
Oh
really
yeah.
was like that, you know. So even sometimes the lost souls around us are there in a time of need, especially in childhood, where we can get like split personalities. So if we have such big trauma that our personality splits to deal with that, sometimes the split personality can actually have attachments to them. So that time and that place, the personality has that attachment. So when we're working with split personalities and helping people reintegrate them, you know, we always check to make sure, because sometimes they have been comforting, but they're holding you in that 3D. They're holding you in that trauma, they're holding you in that time. So no matter how good the intentions are, they need to go to allow that to reintegrate and to heal. But sometimes we do get things that have once again taken advantage at that point, and once again are holding that personality hostage, you know, and
Right.
that's a personality that comes in that maybe isn't quite representative of who you are. So it's a lot of dimensions to it, a lot of layers, definitely a lot
So,
of.
Katie, what are you offering? What courses? What sessions? What are you up to?
Oh gosh, well, that's the question, isn't it? So there is a lot going on right now. The main thing that we're offering, so I offer a service by which I help to clear these energies around the aura. I call it, like I said, a spiritual hygiene. We give your aura a clear. We look through all the different layers. We work on about 19 layers. I work with my guides, so it's multi-dimensional. Okay, it's done remotely, so you don't have to have a session with me, so you can be anywhere in the world. We work telepathically, so with the guides and on your vibrational code to connect with you. It's got an amazing success rate. The actual person who originally created it did a lot of research on it, and he got like a 80% success rate. We're now working on bringing our own analysis in to see how we're doing now. So it's like I said, it's very easy to have done. You don't have to do anything. You just, apart from give us your name, date, location, and if you do want to give us a little bit of information, that's great. But most of the time it's not necessarily. Like, the guides will pick up on what we need to know. We do the clearing around you, and then within 2 weeks you receive a report of what you have had cleared, and then just give us the feedback, really, of, you know, how it's improved, or how it hasn't improved, or what it has done for you, really. So that's the first service we provide, and that can be done on people. It can be done any age, any gender, any place. We do property clearing, so if you feel that there's something energetically, you know, not quite right about the property that you're in, or business clearing, if your business is feeling slightly blocked or the energy's not quite right, we do business clearings as well. So there's a lot of options for that. And the main thing is obviously I want to get this out to as many people, this protocol out to as many people as we can. The first thing is that we want to help people help themselves. So I teach people the different layers of the protocol, and then how they can protect themselves. So how they can use the protocol to protect their energy and to protect their family. So if you do feel at a point where maybe you feel psychically attacked, or maybe you're just feeling a bit down or a bit emotional, or maybe you're feeling a bit stuck in life, you can practice this to help raise your vibration and clear around yourself. Moving on from that, we then offer that you can become a practitioner. So if you want to help other people, we teach you how to connect with other people. So you connect, first of all, we help you connect with your guides or your higher self, or whichever you feel comfortable with, so that you can form that team, so that you can then work together to clear somebody else wherever they be. And it's a safer way of doing it, because when we're doing it with our guides, we're not putting ourselves in the firing line. I mean, there's lots of other ways that people do sort of spirit release and clearing and stuff like that, but this is just a sort of adapted way so that we can do it, and like I said, accommodate for people all over. And sometimes people, you know, maybe they're suffering with schizophrenia, maybe they're suffering with psychosis, maybe they're suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder, and they don't want to have to go through go through it all again of what they're feeling, and then maybe they can't, you know, articulate how they're feeling and explain that. So this technique is really good, because you don't have to, you know, we connect to what we need, and we allow the guides to help us to remove what is not for their highest of good, you know, and we always set that intention, is remove for the highest of good. So there's a couple of different ways that you can train with me. We have a online Zoom live 6-week course, and one in March and 2 in July. And that is 1 day a week for 6 weeks. And that is where we're teaching you the basics. So we're teaching you the basics of the theory, and we're teaching you how to self-clear yourself. You can then move on, if you want to do mediumship and do practice with us, and we offer mediumships and practice courses. We have a practice, like I said, once a week, where we all come together to clear voluntary cases and pro bono cases, where we can get feedback to see, as an exchange, to see how the training is going. The other way is you can do one-to-one mentorship with me. So if you want to do a 3-day intense course, and we basically learn, once again, tailored to you, tailored to your needs, what you need. So you may already have some form of training, or you may be completely new and completely new to this awakening. We'll take it step by step, where we can teach you how to, like I said, navigate through the protocol, and lots of sort of practice and lots of connection with your guides. And even once the mediumship's finished, that's not like mentorship's finished, it's not like, right, that's it, bye, there you go. You know, I will support you until you feel comfortable that you can, you know, confidently go out there and practice. And the third way is we have 2 in-person courses. So if you wanted to be part of a community, you can either come and join us in Glastonbury in June. We've got a 3-day course there, where we're going to connect as a community in the Goddess House, and we are going to, just like I said, work through the protocol and practice together and build that community and have that surrounding around us. We finish on the Friday, which we're then going to go up to Glastonbury Tour to welcome in the summer solstice. So if anybody wanted to stay out afterwards, they're welcome to come and join us for the festivities. I think we're going to meet you up on the tour as well,
Yeah,
Steve.
I'll probably see you there.
Yeah, you've got your
I'll be
retreat.
there around that
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
absolutely. So even if you felt like, oh my gosh, I always wanted to go to that, but I never wanted to go by yourself, so you can drop me a line and just come and meet us, so you've got people there as well, you know. And the last one is we're going to America. We're going to Sedona. So if anybody in America or anybody wanted to ever visit Sedona, we're doing a 5-day course in Sedona, just extended.
When's that happening?
So that's happening in October. And if you visit my website, confidencesoulkatie.co.uk, all the information is on there. And yeah, Sedona is going to be, once again, in-person course. We've got a beautiful cabin where we're going to sort of like retreat there as well. And just, like I said, bring it together. And it doesn't really matter, even if you've done the 6-week course and you wanted to then come and do the in-person course to get the community and the training, you can do that as well. We've got a couple of people that are doing that. They want to do the theory, so they've got the background knowledge, and then when they come on the in-person course, obviously, just to help reiterate and fill in any of those golden nuggets they've forgotten. And like I said, just bringing everything together really, and trying to make it as much as a community as we can, because like I said, you know, nobody wants to feel alone, or they have to navigate this themselves. We want to be able to offer that continuing support without any rules or regulations. You know, everyone's welcome to bring their own modality. As I was speaking to Steve the other day, and I said it's beautiful because we're all sat there sometimes working on cases together in the group, and everybody's guides that come through is just absolutely beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And when we get to the healing, we're like, right, bring in your healing guys, whatever you want to, and you can feel all the energy of like the unicorn energy and the dragon energy. It's just wonderful.
Amazing. Well, Katie, thank you. So it's confidencesoulkatie.co.uk, and do tune in to Katie. Grab her while you can. You know, she's super busy at the moment. Super popular, super busy. Thanks, Katie.
You're welcome. Thank you.